welcome to this week's Grab a Cuppa podcast. We are having a chat with Ian George from the band Amongst Liars, based in Brighton in the UK. We're talking about how Amongst Liars was created, the music influences, life pre and during COVID-19, what the future of Amongst Liars will be, but also we're talking about his other job at the BBC, and he's telling me what it's all about. So this is Grab a Cuppa with Ian George from Amongst Liars. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's all been a bit mad as well here, because we're down south, obviously the south coast. But I've had the bug as well. So I was sick for a couple of weeks. So it's that sort of wiped me out. But apart from that, we carried on. We're doing what we do, and just still getting on with life, I suppose, as you do. But it's crazy times, isn't it?
Oh yeah, tell us about it. I mean, it's been mental. It's been a roller coaster. In all these years, I never thought that this would happen.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely crazy. Well, nice to meet you, Ian. Thank you so much for having a chat with me today.
Pleasure. Especially
at this time. I don't know. To be honest, like I'm a mum anyway, so I've been up just before the cockerels.
Yeah.
So I've been up for a long time.
Wow.
So,
how old's your little one?
Basically, I have two kids.
Okay, cool.
My daughter is 8.
Oh,
my
cool.
son is 6.
Yeah.
And they are both on the autistic spectrum.
Okay.
So my daughter, she is high functioning, but my son is completely nonverbal.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of complex needs.
Yeah.
So life here can be pretty chaotic.
Yeah, that's pretty full on, isn't it? Yeah, it's difficult.
It is pretty full on, and then all these projects going on and everything.
Wow, well, thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
It's fine. Yeah. I'm always before I've been approached about Amongst Liars.
Yeah.
I didn't know about Amongst Liars. And I had I just went onto your socials, the band socials and stuff like that, just to have a little bit of a feel. But what I like to do before meeting a new person is I don't like to research them too much.
Yeah.
Because I think if I ask you something and you give me an answer, if I know already the answer, it just seems fake.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, it's cool.
But I get quite anxious talking to people that I don't know. But then again, it's just me. I've always been an anxious person. It's just my nature.
Yeah.
And I tend to say, a lot.
That's all good. I say stuff like and so Zooms are really weird as well. I mean, you got kind of before, I suppose, when was it? Before sort of March time.
Yeah.
No one ever did them or anything like that. Well, you did them occasionally, and it was a kind of a weird sort of out there thing. And now you kind of got used to it, but it's still a bit bizarre, isn't it? Sort of, especially when you've got loads of people in a Zoom room and you're kind of looking around and thinking, what's going on? So
it's overwhelming, isn't it? It really is. It's overwhelming. It's like I've got 2 cameras at the moment, so I have to look like.
Yeah.
If he feels like I'm not like looking at
no, it's all good.
It's weird, ain't it?
It's weird. I just zone out, and you don't even know where you're looking because if you're looking directly at something, so my eyes go a bit cross-eyed and weird.
It's fine.
It's all good.
Again, Ian, thank you so much for having a chat with me this morning.
No, pleasure.
It's one of the things I've always wanted to. I like doing these things face to face, but at the moment, unfortunately, due to the current climate, we cannot.
Yes.
But hopefully, in the future, fingers crossed, and everything else, we'll be able to do this again.
Definitely. We'll be up to Leeds.
Yes. It's just the usual stuff. You probably with Amongst Liars must have been sick of answering the same questions, so I'm just going to try and not ask you the same things all over again.
Yeah, go for it.
But I very interested, and I was just having a little look on YouTube, you guys' videos, that sort of thing. And did you you guys in Amongst Liars, are you a new band? Is
Yes,
it,
very
yeah, you
new.
guys a
Yes,
new
yeah,
band?
very new band. Yes.
Yeah. Were you guys in like bands prior Amongst Liars, or Amongst Liars is your thing?
Yeah, no, we were like in two bands before that. I was in a band called Catalina Kicks, and we were kind of doing loads of stuff. We toured loads, and we put out 3 albums, and it was going for about sort of 7 or 8 years. Did lots of festivals, lots of touring, lots of stuff, and it was going really well. And then basically, it all fell apart. And while I was touring, I think it was about 2016. We did a UK tour, or one of the UK tours that we did, and we met the guys in a band called Saint Apache, and they are the other guys in Amongst Liars now, because they were a 4-piece. They were doing similar things. They played the Isle of Wight Festival,
Yeah.
Shifter. They'd done tons of stuff, and they were doing really well as well. So we were kind of on the same area, because I live on the coast, and they live just off. They live on the coast as well, and so we stayed in touch. And then around, I think it was early last year to 2019, I saw that their singer had just left the band, and it all went a bit pear-shaped for them, and it's a shame, because they just had an EP out and they were doing really well,
Yeah.
and so I thought, that's a bit of a shame. And then in July 2019, my band just went pear-shaped, and it got down to 2 of us, because people weren't committed, and we just sort of started doing it as a 2-piece. And then the guy I was working with just kind of semi lost the plot, really, and he just went, and I just went, like, we just went, that enough's enough. And
Fair enough.
I phoned up Leo and the guys in obviously Saint Apache, met for a coffee, had a chat, said this is what we want to do, and they said they will, obviously, because they were a bit more kind of sort of harder punkier
Oh,
edge.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And my band, Catalina Kicks, were kind of indie punk, but we had a kind of chat, and Leo said, this is the direction we want to go in. We want to sort of do a more kind of alternative rock, and get a kind of Audio Slave meets Queens of Stone Age meets sort of Rage Against the Machine, or Buck Cherry, all those kind of influences, and a bit of Royal Blood thrown in. So I went, yeah, let's go for it. So we kind of merged a few songs of theirs and a few of mine, and we just jammed it out, and it worked brilliantly. So I think we started exactly a year ago, really. I think we had a first session in September 2019, but we wanted to just literally just smash it, and we recorded 8 songs in pretty quickly, and then put the first one out in January, and end of January, and then we put the second one out in May, and this is our 3rd single that's just come out in August, and we've got another one coming out in about a month's time as well. So we just want to just keep going, really.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you can do. I think
Yeah.
it's a good thing that you, from a bad situation, you
Mm.
turned into a positive one.
Yeah,
And here we are Amongst Liars.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah, was it Over and Over was your first single as Amongst
it was.
Liars?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, roughly about what, 8 months ago?
that was yeah. They came out on the 1st of Feb. So
Right.
yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty
Yes,
much
just before we went into this,
just before. Yeah,
COVID lockdown, isn't
yeah,
it?
exactly.
So you guys were so inspired. Let's get this done. Let's go out tour, and then this happened. How
Yeah.
did that make you feel?
Well, we played one gig. That's about it. So we did that one gig in February. We put the single out, and but we were really lucky in a sense, because we finished all our songs off. We went up to start the recording in November, and we sort of did a couple of weeks up there, and then we finally finished all the 8 songs off. So we weren't in the position that we were a band, and we didn't have any songs to put out there, and we thought, we're just going to go for it, and we'll put out stuff regardless. And when COVID came, obviously we had a tour booked, and we had lots of stuff that was going on, but you just got to go with the flow, really. And we had the songs. We thought, right, we're just going to carry on putting songs out, and this year was going to kind of be a building year for us anyway, because obviously it's easier if you're touring and you're going around, but then there's lots of stuff online, and all the online festivals. We played maybe 4 or 5 online festivals, and you kind of reach out with people. You get people come in and say, oh, I really like that, and they can't see you live, but then they kind of engage in a different way. So you kind of make it what you do, I suppose. So it hasn't been sort of negative at all for us. I think it's been more positive than anything. It's just a shame we can't actually go out and play.
Yeah, it is. I bet, because the thing is, like, I love going to gigs. I love going to gigs. For me, it's like going to a gig is just, I can leave my problems at the door, and then I go in and enjoy myself with watching the bands that I love, with friends, that whole special social experience. But it's like, you know, as a new band, you guys were so like, oh, let's go, we're doing this. And then it's like, in a way, that being taken away all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But as you said, you know, you have to evolve, because if this was to become the new normal, as there is a chance that it could, you know, you just don't know what's going to happen. You have to adapt to what your new reality could be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think it will be like that. I don't think there'll be any, you know, with obviously with the new extension, another 6 months. I mean, we were talking to some industry people, and over the last, we've carried on talking to some people who's management and labels and stuff like that. And you know, it's from that perspective, it's like kind of it's just a bit dead and quiet. And they don't think any major things will resume. Even festivals, I think, will be probably potentially put on hold for next year. And I think you're talking September, October when things start getting back to normal, and that's if they find a cure. And you know, so you've just got to keep going with doing what you do and make the most of it.
Yeah, it's exactly. But I think that doesn't just apply to, you know, live music,
everything. Yeah.
And it's just to our day-to-day lives. And it's absolutely it's crazy, because like I'm in my 30s now, and I never thought that this would happen. Ever in a million years. Out of all the things that have happened in the 30 odd years of my life, I never thought that this would be the one. It's crazy.
It is mad. You watch films like Contagion and all those stuff. I don't know if you've seen that, but
that's
just
never
like,
going to happen.
That's not going to happen. Yeah, all this crazy stuff, and then suddenly, bang! It hits, and it's like.
And then there's 2020. It kicks you in the balls.
Exactly.
I knew.
And then it keeps sticking. Yeah.
And actually, I was curious. Like, apart from, you know, being in amongst liars, do you actually do anything different, like job wise?
Yeah, I work as well. So I work for the I work for the BBC. And you're talking about your kids as well. I sort of help people with sort of autistic on the autistic spectrum and disabilities and stuff in the BBC, and sort of help them sort of train up and develop them and stuff. So I work quite a lot in that. That's my sort of field as well. So which is good. I mean, this is great, and that's been quite tough as well, because it's like with lockdown and people, you know, really vulnerable people as well, being put in, you know, in a difficult position with uncertainties and work and stuff like that. So that's been, you know, that's been something that's, I mean, it's great. I really enjoy that work as well. It's helping people, but so that's my other life as well. So it's
it's your other life as well. I find that quite interesting that you say that, because like with my kids, before you know, before I found out that they had autism, I didn't know what autism was. And then watching my daughter grow up and her personality develop and all these different things made me think that I perhaps am too on the spectrum. And it's been quite, you know, I'm going through the assessment process as well. And it's something that, you know, with Grab a Cuppa podcast, is something that I actually talk about quite openly, and it's stuff that we need to talk about more.
Definitely.
So it becomes just your ordinary thing.
It's the norm. That's right. It should be that. Just
because because I'm wired differently does not mean that I'm different
definitely
to you as a person. I'm still a person. And just that, like, these past nearly 9 years have been crazy, because I've been finding myself as well as a person that perhaps is on the autistic spectrum. And so many traits as well. So is there a reason why you decided to take that path in the professional?
I think you just get kind of, and with me anyway, I've just been I just go with the flow and see what happens. And you know, I always had a thing about sort of helping people and just that's my kind of thing. I like sort of, so anything like development coaching, all those kind of things always sort of appealed to me. And I kind of got into working there just as a fluke, really. I was working when I was sort of a lot younger. I had a girlfriend who was working